Now is GOP Congressman Thomas Massie. Mr. Massie, thank you for joining me this morning. Really appreciate it. The vice president said this morning that it would have been, quote, irresponsible for the United States not to act immediately. And there was a, quote, narrow opportunity to attack now to significantly set back Iran's nuclear program. So what do you say to him?
Well, I would say go back and look at the first Iraq war, where the president came to Congress and we debated and voted before they waged war. Look at the war in Afghanistan, same thing, the second Iraq war. And even you can look at 2013 when President Obama wanted to get us involved in a war in Syria, and he said he would put it up to Congress. And I was here for that one. And Congress said, no, thanks. We didn't even vote on it. And so we didn't go to war in Syria. And the notion that this isn't an act of war, I find ludicrous. This is a hot war. There are two nations, Israel and Iran, trading volleys of missiles every night, every day, and we're co-belligerent now in this war.
I mean, the vice president went on to say that they needed to act now because there was a narrow window. And if they waited, it could have been too late. And they needed to stop the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Do you not share that concern?
No, I don't share that concern. But I have another concern, and that is that 3 bombings to neutralize Iran may turn out to be the 2025 version of 2 weeks to slow the spread. This could turn into a protracted, prolonged engagement, and I'm here to represent the base of the MAGA party that got Trump elected. Most of us were tired of the wars in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, and we were promised that we wouldn't be engaging in another one. Yet here we see this happening, and there's the president and the administration say, oh, we're done. We've had our little bombing and now this is over. But what happens if this drags on between Israel and Tel Aviv gets pummeled by Iran? Is President Trump going to say we're going to sit by and not do anything in that instance? I'm leery of this given everything that's happened before.
Let's talk about how the Speaker of the House has handled this military escalation. The Speaker said that Trump, quote, evaluated the imminent danger and that outweighed the time it would take for Congress to act. But one of your former colleagues, Justin Amash, wrote on X that Johnson should, quote, step down or be immediately removed because he has completely abrogated his and Congress's responsibilities under the Constitution. Do you agree with Mr. Amash's assessment that the Speaker should be removed or step down?
Well, I think there's a conundrum there with the Speaker's assertion that there was an imminent threat. If there was an imminent threat, not call us back from our recess. We were on recess last week, and I went to special effort to offer a war powers resolution while everybody was on vacation. I was able to put it in the hopper during a pro forma session. But in reality, if Speaker Johnson thought that America was in danger imminently, he should have brought us all back to Congress, yet he did not.
But should he be removed? Or should he step down, in your opinion?
I'm not a fan of the Speaker, but I will tell you this. I think he's the Speaker as long as Trump wants him to be the Speaker. Yeah. If Trump gets tired of Speaker Johnson, he better clean out his desk because that's how he's Speaker. He's just hanging on by doing whatever Trump wants. And in this case, it's an abrogation of our responsibility to debate matters of war. That's what Trump wants, and that's what Mike Johnson gave him. That is wrong. And by the way, whether you agree with my War Powers resolution that I've co-introduced with Ro Khanna, a Democrat, by the way, we're up to 50 co-sponsors now. Whether you agree with it or not, surely you agree, or your listeners agree, that the Constitution requires Congress to weigh in on this. There's some argument that, there was an imminent threat, so the president can act for 60 days without a vote of Congress. But here's the reality. After 60 days, he has to stop unless there is a vote. So at some point, Manu, I think we're going to be able to force a vote unless Speaker Johnson pulls some shenanigans with the Rules Committee.
Yeah, I wonder, you mentioned the politics of this. You mentioned about the MAGA base. And I want to talk to you about that because given Trump, he campaigned on ending U.S. involvement in foreign wars. We've heard some criticisms from the likes of Tucker Carlson and the like that it would amount to a middle finger to voters who thought Trump would put America first if the U.S. did, in fact, strike Iran. So do you think that this move by the president could alienate him from the base?
Well, he doesn't have to run for re-election, but it will, I think, fragment our party, this action that he's taken, and it's going to hurt us in the midterms. We could lose the majority over this one issue, and, because people become disillusioned, disaffected, apathetic, and don't show up to vote, and then the Democrats get in the majority and end up impeaching him again. I think this was a bad move politically, but it's also just a bad move legally and constitutionally and policy-wise.
And yes or no, did he break a campaign promise on this?
Absolutely, he broke a campaign promise. And there are a lot of the base will say that, although not too many of my Republican colleagues will say that. They're frankly afraid of him. And they're also afraid of the Israel lobby in Congress that's given millions and millions of dollars to so many of my colleagues.
All right, Mr. Massey, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your perspective. Really appreciate it. And
Thanks, Manu.
Thank you. And what do Trump's strikes against Iran overseas mean for Americans here at home? How U.S. officials are preparing